What's up, Patreon family? This is your girl Megan from the HoodAstroQ. Today I am coming to you guys with the second installment, part 2 of this Brittany Renner and PJ Washington situation. After reviewing my previous video in typical Virgo Moon fashion, I discovered some missed opportunities to break certain aspects down that I thought would be kind of beneficial as they provide a bit more context and clarity on the situation. And so I think I'm going to just take the opportunity to do that here. All right. So if you are not familiar with the situation, I would actually encourage you to watch part 1. But in a nutshell, Brittany Renner, Instagram model, apparently got with a newly recruited PJ Washington, fresh out of high school, had a baby with him, and as soon as the baby turned 2 weeks old, she dipped. Now, allegedly, she's keeping him from his kid, and he has to pay a significant amount of money in child support. Brittany Renner, who was born on February 26, 1992, which, by the way, her birth number being 26, it reduces to the number 8, which can deal with an opportunist. A lot of 8 individuals are very clear in terms of the things that they want. And you have the types who are willing to work hard, or people who can be very committed to their careers. But then you also have the type of 8s who fixate a lot of their time and attention on using other people so they can kind of get to where they need to go. But either way, they got larger plans at play here. And it's really about accumulating or acquiring lots of power, status, and things of that nature. Not to mention, the number 6 can deal with other people. You know, a lot of people with prominent 6 influences, even when discussing the number 26, could need other people in life in order to get ahead. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then the number 2 could also be a number that signifies a person having a difficult time being self-sufficient. And this also parallels Brittany's Cancer South Node. However, something else that also tends to come along when we talk about a lot of Cancer South nodes, because this would actually place Capricorn on the North Node, is number 1, a lot of these people, especially women, can have a lot of gold digging characteristics, but it could also create a woman who, once again, likes to align herself with a certain type of person, right? These could be sack chasers, status chasers, and so on and so forth. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Brittany Renner is also a Sagittarius moon. And Sagittarius, not for nothing, is one of the groupies of the zodiac. It's tied to this kind of God complex. And with her Sagittarius moon squaring her Mercury in Pisces, it just speaks to her being someone who is going to go wherever the wind blows. It also, as stated in video 1, has a lot to do with her being dishonest. That in tandem with her actually being a Pisces sun and having her sun at the 7th degree, which is the Pisces degree. So I have no doubt that she's someone who could be very dishonest at worst, or at best just really misleading, right? Also, her Venus is at the 10th degree of Aquarius. The number 10 breaks down to 1. The number 1 also rules children as well as youthfulness. So in many respects, these are people who can attract very young partners. And with that Aquarian influence, honestly, as mentioned in video 1 as well, it could be just downright perverted. Venus in Aquarius could also attract or be a magnet for relationships of convenience and opportunity. Also reinforced with Venus conjoined to Saturn. These are people who can be very, I guess you could say, predisposed towards transactional relationships, needing that proximity to, once again, the status and the power. Also, this could deal with these people themselves being very controlling. And I even look at this as her cutting off the access or contact between her kid and PJ after the relationship was over. So these are people who actually like to punish their partners when they do something that they don't like, or where they could just shut all the way down. Okay, but in some cases, it could also deal with her attracting the more controlling types as well, which had me wondering, even based on PJ's chart, if it was one of those things where maybe in the process of him trying to save her, quote unquote, maybe he was trying to control her. But either way, as an Aquarius stellium, with her stellium including her Venus conjoined to Mars and even Saturn in Aquarius, she's not going for it. These are the type of people who they're going to be them, period. And they're very independent to a fault, so to speak. So you can't control shit. If anything, she'll be the type to want to actually control you. And when it's not really going the way she wants it to go, or once she really doesn't see any, real worth or value or opportunity there, she's going to dip. So, and also further reinforce, considering that she does have Venus conjoined to Mars, which could definitely create a man-eater, a bona fide man-eater. It could deal with where she can also be a magnet for men, but relationships don't really stick. And this could be, because of her own doing, right? She was the one who left. It could deal with her coming off as friendly, but to a point, once again, with Venus and Mars conjoined to Saturn. This conjunction between her Venus and Mars in Aquarius could also deal with her dealing with men who don't know who they really are. It could point towards her being cold and calculative, and then once again reinforces this theme of perverse sexual desires. Her Venus, Mars, and Saturn are all forming an opposition to her Chiron and Leo, which reinforces, this kind of inappropriate dynamic that she had with PJ when he was, in school. Now, whether or not she was dealing with him before he was 18, I don't know. But it still does echo the chart of a person where, like I was saying in video 1, I got to be honest. If I was looking at a man's chart, this would be kind of alarming. Like, what do we have going on here? But ultimately, these are people who are accustomed to using everything as a means to an end. Even with her Venus in Aquarius in opposition to her Chiron in Leo, she's willing to have a baby in order to kind of get what she wants, even monetarily speaking. And then it could also deal or reinforce her just dipping, right? Her just leaving the relationship, her also having a lot of apathy and being kind of indifferent. Chiron also deals with areas or where we can wound others, so to speak. So even though heartache and heartbreak could be major themes for Chiron, Leo individuals, with it opposing her Venus, Saturn, and that Aquarius Mars, it could deal with her being the one to typically inflict a lot of these wounds upon other people, especially when dealing with more naive, hence that Chiron and Leo, and more unassuming kind of partners. And that could also even be indicated with her Venus at the 10th degree. Now, her Mars and Saturn opposing Chiron could also deal with her, once again, dating people who she feels like she can control, but also it deals with her limiting access that PJ has to his own kid. Now, doubling back to PJ's chart, he has his Venus and Mars in Leo opposing his Uranus, which deals with him being estranged from his kid. But with Venus in opposition to Uranus, it also reinforces this concept of attracting or being a magnet for gold diggers and women who are just in the relationship for what they can get out of it, who feel entitled to whatever he has going on, his celebrity, his money, his star power. It's also worth mentioning that, very similar to what I described in video 1, lots of individuals with Leo influences can be very naive. So you have to keep that in mind. He's somebody who could probably think and operate like a kid in many respects. Then when you consider his Venus squaring that Chiron and Scorpio, not only would that correlate to the amount of child support that he would have to pay, right? Being on the hook for a lot of child support, but also where he could deal with women who are actively parasites and who could prey upon him and kind of leech upon him. That word again, right? Leeching. So I thought that was interesting. And it just really reinforces there being this kind of like weird, dysfunctional, sadistic kind of dynamic at play, where a woman could attach herself to a lot of his money. It could also point towards infidelity, which I even meant to mention in Brittany's chart, because she does have some indicators of that, especially with her Venus conjoined to Mars in Aquarius. I wouldn't be surprised if she was actually dealing with other men or had someone on the side. Now, of course, it could always go both ways, especially when you consider the fact that most athletes cheat. But, I just found that to be really interesting. Then on top of that, PJ does have that Pisces South Node, which can give him that savior complex, especially with her sun conjoined to his South Node. And it also makes him devoted to a fault. And something else that I didn't mention in the previous video, which was I feel that this is also a lunar nodal placement that could have made him very spoiled and or sheltered growing up. So although there could have also been abandonment issues, he could have also been someone who was just in general, not only just gullible, also reinforced with his moon, that Virgo moon in opposition to Jupiter and Pisces, but also just very spoiled and sheltered. And maybe he just wasn't used to navigating a kind of environment where you have to be on your P's and Q's and watch out for gold diggers and things like that. Now with his Virgo moon, as well as him being a Virgo sun, but specifically the moon, this is also another placement that could deal with him being groomed by women. And that actually echoes Brittany Renner's Pisces sun in opposition to Jupiter in Virgo. Her being someone who could be a groomer of men. So when you add all of these ingredients together, it's just a sad thing to see. It's really crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video on that note. I just wanted to clarify a few points. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys in the next video.